Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins in Syria, where a group of terrorists plan to kill American hostages on a beach. A soldier named Miller orders a sniper team into firing positions, in order to destroy the terrorists, who aim to document the hostage-taking as a form of retaliation against the Americans. Before acting, the crew awaits Miller's orders. Surprisingly, one of the terrorists is a youngster, and they order him to assassinate one of the hostages. When Miller commands Beckett to shoot, he hesitates, so Miller instructs Barnes to shoot right away. Barnes however misses, and the terrorists are alarmed and kill one captive. The sniper squad and combat helicopter then murder all the terrorists escaping to the coast. Despite their purpose of assassinating the terrorists achieved, one hostage was killed. Miller calls Beckett to ask about the event, who promises to do better next time. Cervantes and Rojas subsequently celebrate their accomplishment, on a pier in Istanbul, Turkey, with Beckett and Angst. While celebrating, Angst brings up their previous task. This makes Beckett uneasy, and she blames him for his hesitation. Beckett walks away from them to have his beer alone. Cervantes soothes him and encourages him to relax. Beckett thanks him and tells he needs some alone time. A woman looks at Beckett and goes away after Cervantes leaves him alone. Beckett follows the woman to the end of the pier, flirts with her, and starts talking about their business in Istanbul. Next, a suspicious man approaches the abandoned building's rooftop from afar, pulls out a sniper rifle, and points at Beckett. Fortunately, Beckett's major, Bidwell, shoots the sniper. He calls Beckett right away and insists they meet. Beckett is talking to Bidwell when the woman walks away without him noticing. Bidwell tells him that a sniper was preparing to assassinate him, and he should be cautious the next time. Miller informs him of the Syrian operation, and Beckett admits to Bidwell that he hesitated, as one of the terrorists was young. Bidwell advises that having a conscience is not a bad thing, but it should not cloud his judgment. The crew meets with the colonel to discuss their next mission, protecting a gas pipeline in Georgia from terrorists. Beckett sees the woman he met on the pier again. She introduces herself as Slater, and assumes command of the operation. Their job is to eliminate opposing snipers, and Slater will provide drone support. The next day, the team arrives at the pumping station in Georgia, and Slater discusses the technique in detail. For 2 hours, they must defend an oil tycoon named Killian Grun, when he arrives at the station. The terrorist leader, Gazakov, leads the militants in their assault on Killian. The crew begins the operation, taking their assigned places outside the station. Angst notices a flash of light in the distance, and reports it to the squad, but it is too late. The terrorist's anti-tank sniper shoots one of Killian's bodyguard's cars, and the remaining bodyguards shoot the terrorists. During the fight, a sniper mentions Rojas and Angst. The sniper kills Rojas, but the others don't notice. As a result, Slater uses her drones to offer above-average guidance. Someone is pointing the opposing sniper in the right direction. Maines is shot by the opposing sniper, and the terrorist defeats Killian's bodyguard. The colonel in command spots the terrorist on the radar, and orders missiles to be launched in the area where the terrorists strike. The soldiers defend Killian. Angst and Beckett attempt to treat Rojas' neck wound, but she dies as a result of blood loss. Miller, Slater and their troops scout the area where the terrorists are using the anti-tank sniper. In shock, Beckett scatters the bones of Gazakov's brother-in-law, and accuses Colonel Sergei of perhaps helping the terrorists with intel. Beckett suspects an ambush, because there have been no deaths among Sergei's soldiers. Colonel Sergei dispatches Beckett to a highland station, escorted by Sajid and a team member Beckett is set to join. A team that is defending a pipeline. They arrive at the station house, and are greeted by Russian men. They only attack Beckett when he arrives at the station. Andrei, the man in charge, is amazed by his abilities, and asks them to stop fighting. After which, Andrei brings everyone outside, and explains how Beckett ended up on his team. Beckett is chastised for disobedience, and he discloses that someone in Georgia is a traitor, sending information to terrorists in secret. He lost his friends, but no Georgian soldiers were killed. Andrei advises that Beckett discover additional proof of the traitor before condemning the Georgians. He must also track down the man who murdered his friends, and force him to reveal how they came to be in their places. Andrei and his team discover Chechen burglars stealing from a listening station while monitoring it. Andrei intends to kill all of the robbers who come to the facility armed. Beckett, on the other hand, believes they should instead subdue them. Andrei instructs Beckett to demonstrate how to accomplish it, as the others cover him. Andrei is getting ready to launch an attack. Beckett attempts to bargain with the robbers, but they make suspicious movements. Andrei responds by shooting one of them, killing all but one for interrogation. They discuss their past later at night. Andrei tells that he has been in this situation previously. He had to confront a youngster drawn into combat. He hesitated to kill him and the hidden bomb murdered his fellow soldiers. Andrei teaches Beckett that a skilled sniper must sacrifice their morals in order to kill without hesitation. The next day, Sajid sees terrorists in the mountains and assumes they are Chechens on their way to rescue their captive. They immediately plant bombs in several locations and prepare for the clash. Everyone takes their places, while Andrei and the others guard the station. Beckett and Sajid, on the other hand, set up behind the rocks for sniper aid. The Chechens storm the station and begin shooting shortly. Andrei and his team defend the station, killing everybody they come across and detonating the explosives. When the Chechens spot Beckett, they open fire with an RPG, which Sajid and Beckett manage to avoid. Beckett safely lands and seeks Andrei. Simultaneously, Sajid betrays them and plots to murder Beckett in order to join the enemy. They later bring Andrei out and attempt to behead him. Fortunately, Beckett arrives just in time, shoots everyone, including Sajid, and saves Andrei, who commends Beckett for not hesitating to shoot Sajid, and Beckett's probation is terminated. Beckett is immediately charged with contacting Mothershed in Georgia, upon his return to the base. He retrieves Gazakov's brother-in-law's ashes, in order to see Gazakov and learn who is feeding them intelligence. Mothershed follows him to Gazakov's place the next day, while one of the drones supports them. The drone detects the enemies, but is unable to identify them. They soon catch up with Gazakov's soldiers, and Mothershed returns the remnants. Beckett inquires as to who provided them with the coordinates for the sniper squad. He is not convinced, however, by the terrorists' assertion that it was a God-given gift. Gazakov approaches them unexpectedly, and insists they do not lie. When the colonel finds the terrorists in difficulty, he dispatches a missile to save his troops. Beckett encounters a terrorist in possession of a difficult book and a satellite uplink. The missile bombs their location. Fortunately, Beckett and Mothershed are able to evade it in time. Back at the operation base, Slater insists the two explain why they met with Gazakov. Beckett informs her that he observed the terrorists carrying a thick book with satellite uplink tracking, and believes they utilized it to determine their positions. Through Slater's cell phone, the colonel contacts Beckett, and asks him to execute his new job, returning to his crew and defending Killian. When Beckett arrives at the pumping station in Georgia, the next day, Cervantes welcomes him, and informs him the others are on a mission in the highlands, after finding Gazakov's position in the area. As Beckett predicts the risk of the operation, they race to their crew. Miller, Barnes and Ongst are in the highlands, giving long-range support for the ground troops. Knowing that their coordinates are exposed somewhere in the Kutaisi region, drones fly overhead, keeping an eye on Miller and the other shooters. The terrorists shoot one of the foot soldiers, to distract the snipers. The opposing sniper tries but fails to hit Ongst. Ongst immediately informs her team of the terrorists' whereabouts at the White House. When she is shot in the shoulder, Barnes rushes to her help, and administers first aid. Beckett and Cervantes arrive just in time, and tell Miller to remove their GPS-equipped vests. Meanwhile, the foot soldiers reach the White House, but the terrorists have vanished. Slater and Sergei come and investigate the situation. Beckett brings up the drone problem again, but Slater is unconvinced. Miller and Sergei eventually consider his claim. Beckett and the others restock their ammunition at the operation base. Soon, the colonel pays a visit to Miller's crew, and Miller explains the drone's GPS problem as well as the fact that Gazakov's apartment in Kutaisi was a trap. Miller believes in and supports Beckett's thesis. The colonel evaluates the situation, and issues new instructions. He reveals their next mission, to eliminate Gazakov and his troops. According to satellite images, Gazakov intends to strike the station the next day. To deal with the remaining terrorists under Gazakov's control, reinforcements will arrive by dark. If the terrorists can see the drones, Miller thinks it's a terrible idea, but Slater insists it's impossible. The colonel instructs them to turn off their GPS devices, and prepare for the attack. Miller and his group reach their target. Beckett has a bad feeling about the trip, and informs Miller the attack could take place today, rather than tomorrow, because the station has been left vulnerable. Miller tells him he observed Gazakov's approach toward the base on satellite photographs. He says this information was passed on to him. After that, Beckett tells him how they found the site, which he guesses to be through the use of the drone network. Beckett is successful in swaying Miller's opinion, that the information they were given might be inaccurate. They don't waste any time, and head back to the station. In the meantime, Gazakov is launching his assault inside the station, where there are just a few soldiers to protect the defenseless station. The colonel and Slater try to call for reinforcements from the base, but it will be some time before they arrive. Shortly after that, Miller and the others arrive to lend a helping hand to the soldiers. They have been brought to the attention of the adversary snipers, who are now actively searching for them. Beckett is successful in tracking down the terrorist who is holding the challenging book, and shoots him. The conflict comes to a head when he finally finds Gazakov and kills him, at which point the terrorists are forced to abandon the scene. At the conclusion, Beckett is shown catching up with his old friends, Cervantes, Ongst and Barnes. After that, the colonel lets them know that he will keep working for them, as their field operator in the future. In the meantime, Slater is at the pier, waiting for Beckett to make amends because she did not believe his initial allegation regarding the drone. Beckett is unfazed, and offers her a drink, which she gladly accepts, despite the awkward situation. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.